Welcome to another video for Mayor Science. This short video is going to walk you through the Albatross Bolus Observe, Wonder, and Think activity. So the goal of this particular video and this activity is to really experience the phenomena of the Albatross Bolus. So what is an Albatross Bolus? Let's go ahead and take a real quick look. So it's a bird. It's a bird that lives in really big colonies out in Hawaii, which is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And these birds have a really large range, so they fly sometimes hundreds of miles around in the Pacific Ocean looking for food. They're kind of a unique bird in that they actually breed for life. So once they reach adulthood, they find a mate, and they stick with that mate for the rest of their life. And finally, as they are flying around the North Pacific Ocean, they are looking for squid. So squid is just a creature that looks like this that you're going to find a lot of out and about in the ocean. So, like many birds, the albatross feeds their babies in a very specific way. So let's take a quick look at this video here. So what happens with albatross parents is that they'll go out and they'll search for food, and they'll eat that food, and then they'll go back to wherever their babies are. So here's a little baby albatross, and they will actually regurgitate or throw up their food. And so notice in this video right here, the mom is regurgitating the food and the baby is eating it. So what this means is whatever the parents are eating, those babies are ultimately going to get. So the title of this video was the Albatross Bolus. And you might be wondering, what is an albatross bolus? Let me show you a picture, and then I'm going to show you an actual one, the real thing, in a moment here. This is an albatross bolus. I'm holding it next to, or I put it next to a pair of tweezers. So here are the tweezers. So you can see about how big it is. I know it looks like maybe it's poop or something like that, but it's not. So a bolus, and lots of birds do this, is actually formed from undigested materials that the bird regurgitates. So a bird might eat, for instance, a squid. And there are things in the squid that the bird cannot digest. And so that's going to ultimately end in the bolus, and the bird is going to throw that up. So you'll see squid beaks. It might be things like that they accidentally eat, like rocks or twigs or plastic. And totally normal feeding behavior to regurgitate up these boluses. So let's go ahead and look a little bit more closely at the bolus. So I've got the bolus right here, and this is a fully formed bolus. I actually was able to get these from Division of Wildlife all the way out in Hawaii, so they mailed them to me last year. And I haven't taken this one apart yet, but you can see there's like some feathers in here, and I can see these things that look like twigs and some squid beaks. What I'm going to show you though next is a bolus that's already been kind of taken apart. So I've taken apart this bolus, and I have looked at, what is actually in here. So let me point out just a couple of things. First of all, I have a lot of these pieces of plastic. So I've got lots of plastic in here. I've got what looks to be like some kind of wire, another kind of wire. I have some kind of small rock. And when I look around, I have a lot of actual squid beaks. So this is just a part of the squid. It actually looks a little bit like a claw, but it's the beak of the squid. And so this is a squid beak. And so there's a lot of them in here. And there's also just a lot of like little kind of debris. So I have already sorted this once, and I've kind of looked at everything that I found in the bolus. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what I actually found. So here is a picture of my sorted bolus. So you can see I have a whole lot of fishing line. I have a lot of different plastics. They were all like pretty small pieces, but a pretty big pile. Here's a ruler so you can kind of see how big everything is. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I can't really identify, so it just seems like it's little pieces of things. I have a fair number of squid beaks, so you can tell that this albatross was getting plenty of food via squid beaks. And then I have a few stones and pieces of wood and things like that. So I actually went ahead and weighed everything that I found. And here's what I found. I have 5.5 or a little over 5.5 grams of plastic. I had 0.2 grams of fishing line. I had almost 11 grams of squid beaks. I had some rocks. I had a fair amount of stuff I can't really identify, and I had a little bit of a few twigs and some things I think were bones. So again, some unknown, but then the biggest things that stuck out were these squid beaks, their primary food source, and the plastic that I found. So when I graph this, here's what you can see. So over on the y-axis here, I have the average mass of materials. I actually looked at two different boluses, and I kind of found an average of materials between the two. So down here you can see the different materials, and you can see what sticks out. So we've got plastic, lots of squid beaks, and what I'm calling unknown material. So now that you've experienced the phenomena of the albatross bolus, I'm going to have you go ahead and complete your observe, wonder, and think. Keep in mind, you should have at least 3 to 4 observations, a couple of questions, and what do you think is going on that resulted in what you noticed, what you observed in the albatross bolus. Feel free to go back and relook at portions of this video as you complete your observe, wonder, and think.